What's going on, guys? This is not going to be a long video at all. It's just going to be talking about a article I saw from a group called NORML. They're for like marijuana to be made legalized everywhere. You've probably heard of them. They probably have a chapter in your city and state. They're a big I don't want to say charity, but they're huge. Definitely what I would consider the definition of a true social justice warrior. Now, I know what social justice warrior means right now, but that's why I say they're a true social justice warrior, because they're attacking an issue that needs to be made right, and they're going about it the right way. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying they're a social justice warrior, because social justice warrior is supposed to bring shit to light. You dig what I'm saying? And when they bring that shit to light, they have a plan in order to fix it. Most of the social justice warriors that are out here now bitch about shit that isn't even fucking real. This is why you have no credibility. This is why I say I don't want to call them a charity, because they're not a charity. They're a non-profit that does accept donations. But my thing is this. They have an article and it's talking about how California's black market, when it comes to marijuana, is still more profitable than dispensaries. That's what it's talking about. And of course it's going to be that way. It's probably going to be that way for the next 10 to 15 years. While the states are making millions, if not billions of dollars by now. It's not that it was ever legal. That wasn't the issue. You are trying to change our very nature by now. Okay? Because my generation, the generation after me, my niece and nephew's generation, even then, because yes, I know they're children, I know they're very young, but the one thing that I am not ignorant to is the shit that they do. For Christ's sakes, you realize that middle schools have weed in them. So get over yourself. I know they want to be drug-free zones, and now they're more locked up than a fucking penitentiary area. What the fuck? Never mind that, but let's talk about why the black market is still more profitable than the legal one. Well, that's very simple. Since 1932, weed has been illegal. 1932. We are about to go into 2020 and it's still not legal in every state. Okay? This is kind of the problem that the government themselves created. Okay? They created the same problem in the moonshining business when they did the whole prohibition on alcohol. They created their same problem, and that turned into be Al Capone and everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to get into why alcohol should actually be illegal and why cigarettes should be illegal versus marijuana. I'm not going to get into that because it's very cut and dry. Obviously, alcohol, body count, high as fuck, children dead, all that negative shit includes what's in that fucking bottle. Cigarettes, I've never seen a guy with a Coke or a Snickers bar who was ready to kill everybody in the fucking line. I've never seen this happen with somebody who hasn't smoked a little bit of weed in 5 hours. Okay? So that's why. And I don't care what you say. I've never heard of one person dying from a blunt. Now, they might have said that shit was a blunt that man might have died from, but was it real weed or that synthetic shit? Because that synthetic shit has been known to kill people. This is why I say this. You feel what I'm saying? Synthetic, even though it's sold in gas stations, has been known to cause cardiac arrest. But it's perfectly legal. Just like alcohol and cigarettes are perfectly legal, but yet secondhand smoke is deadlier than the motherfucker who is actually smoking the cigarette. How is that not illegal? You know what I'm saying? Alcohol. Alcohol has more negative stereotypes behind it that are true than positive. Think about that. Yes, some people become fun after they drink a little bit. But let's do the number comparison to those people versus all this negative shit. Why is this shit not illegal? Why is marijuana illegal? I've never heard of a person dying off of marijuana. So let's go back to 1932 when this shit was made illegal. Here it is 2020. We are almost at the official 100-year mark, which will be 2031 if I'm not mistaken. And I say that because you got to count 2000, so you lose a year back. So bam, it'll be 2031. It'll be officially 100-year-old law that has not only been an old law that made no sense for back then. It is a racist law. It is a law that promotes violence on people who are poor, on the lower middle and lower class. This law promotes so much bad. Okay? And here we are, it's fixing to be 2020, and we're still going by this. I don't know why. I honestly have no idea why. Because there are so many things worse right now that I can get legally and do so much damage, and that should be perfectly fine. Get caught with a blunt, you're going to jail. But was I doing anything with the blunt? Did I have it lit? Was I smoking it? Even if I was smoking it, was I doing anything wrong? Where are we at? Am I at my house? Am I on the road? There's so many things that play into factors here, and there's been so many things dispelled that you have to look at these factors, okay? Because the black market thrives off of you morons in the government making shit illegal. That's what it thrives on. Weed is legal in, like, I want to say 12, maybe 13 states, okay? And with that, you have to consider how awkward it feels. It doesn't matter if it's the first time or if it's 129,000th time you go into a dispensary. There's that little piece of you, that little bitty speck of you that goes, man, it feels so weird that I can buy weed legally now from somebody behind a counter. Because, dude, I myself am 35. When I was 25, that shit wasn't possible. You feel what I'm saying? Not even 10 years ago, this shit was not even a thing. You see what I'm saying? So, you have my generation, which is the first generation of adults to have a dispensary. Yes, our grandparents and our parents, if you're lucky enough for your grandparents to be around, you do what I'm saying, or even your parents, that is the, like, official first adults. But when we're talking about, like, adults that are in their prime with being an adult, not the coming up seniors and the actual seniors. Okay, I'm talking about, like, if we're in school, we're basically the sophomores. You know what I'm saying? We're the sophomores, and then the ones coming up, that's the freshmen. You dig what I'm saying? So, bam. You dig? We're the sophomores of life right now. You dig what I'm saying? Everything's going good, whatever, bad, good, however it's going for you. Don't judge me on that. But we have the most energy between us and our parents because our parents are becoming those grandparents. So we have the most energy and the most impact. And while, yes, this change is great and I support it 100%, I hope you do too, that they were brought up the exact same way to buy from someone else on the street. That is in their DNA now. And then you have our parents who never saw that shit, and they're, 50, 60, some 70. You know what I'm saying? Up there. You know what I'm saying? And they spent majority of that time buying from someone else off the streets. It is embedded in them. You see what I'm saying? Even though you can walk in now, I guarantee you they still like, yo, let me get some weed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's embedded in them. Okay? This is a problem the government created. It's the same problem they created because they went about the war on drugs wrong. They treated people who used as criminals instead of attacking the drug, which would be the dealer. You know what I'm saying? The war on drugs could have been successful if they would have actually went about it the right fucking way. And don't get me wrong, I understand drug dealers. There's a lot of people out there who sell drugs, slang, whatever, and that's because that's their only means of income, whether that be a product of the environment they're in, or maybe they just have a bad rap at a job and nobody's going to give them a chance, or maybe they have a criminal background, nobody give them a chance. You know what I'm saying? So they do what they got to do. I'm not talking about people like that. I'm talking about the people who can legitimately like be called the plug, the connect. You dig what I'm saying? Then people who go and they buy them like crazy number loads. You dig what I'm saying? Like he got caught with 5 pounds. You know what I'm saying? He got caught with 20 bricks. He got caught with 17 needles. You dig what I'm saying? That type of person. So, yeah, the war on drugs was a failure, but it was a failure due to the fact that they didn't attack the drug. They attacked the users. They attacked the people who had the most to lose while continuing the flow of the thing they're against into the community. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not that that war could have never been won. It could have. But how do you attack an inanimate object that has to be injected, snorted, smoked, ate in some fashion? You see what I'm saying? Which means it's a choice upon the person. Because what they should have did is, instead of putting these people into prison so that the prison population can grow substantially and fuck up a lot of people's life, because a lot of drug users are non-violent offenders. So when you think about that, you know what I'm saying? This makes perfect sense. Yes, it is great to see that marijuana is now becoming so accepted and more understood day by day. I love that, because it needs to be. This needs to be something that we talk about on the regular, okay? There's so many more benefits to weed than there are negative effects to weed, okay? For one, weed is never going to come with a warning on that bitch, unless it's, bitch, don't eat the whole fucking brownie. But it's never going to come with a side effects thing. And if it does come with a side effects thing, the side effects are going to read the funniest shit you ever heard. Like, you about to go to sleep, bitch. Get you a Gatorade now, ho. Stop at McDonald's in 20 seconds. Like, it's going to be some funny shit. You dig what I'm saying? It's not going to be like, did you take Percocet and almost die? It's not going to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Weed is so harmless and so much more helpful and beneficiary as well. Okay? I mean, think about all the other uses besides smoking and eating it that there are. It can make paper. It can make, there's a fuck ton of things that hemp can make. Like, dude, so many fucking things. Clothing, paper, I think, like you can, fuck else. I know clothing and paper off the top of my head for real. But it interferes with the timber industry in a way too, and I can't remember exactly how. I think the paper part, but there's a lot to it, and it will affect the medical field. But the medical field has been fucked so long right now. You know what I'm saying? They're so wrong right now because they've been pushing pills on us, hoping to put us back into a comatose state. All right? Think about that. How else are you able to pass a dumbass fucking law like marijuana being illegal? Because the people were in a comatose state and they were not paying attention. Holy fuck. Why couldn't I think of that word? I was at work and I was trying to think of the word comatose because I've been using it so much lately because my grandfather is in the hospital because they think he's going to die soon. But, you know, when they were telling me how he was, I was like, is he comatose? Like, is he not responding? You know what I'm saying? And I found out that that's not what was going on. So I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I'm thinking it is. But like I said, I was talking about it at work, and I was trying to think comatose. And when I was talking to the person, I couldn't fucking think of the word. But anyway, as a society, we have got to fight back against these injustices that we can fix. You know what I'm saying? All this, weed being illegal, no, that is a war on the lower middle class and poverty people. Okay, that is a war against the person, against the people who you're supposed to be for government. Just saying, didn't we have a war where we got rid of one government, came and formed another one? Do you really think that shit won't happen again in a time like right now where everybody is at each other's throats for anything? Seriously? I didn't know my door wasn't shut that much. Okay, well, anyway, Make weed legal. Just make it legal. There's no reason for it not to be. I've never seen a depressed stoner. I've never seen anybody get in an accident because of weed. I had a bitch talk herself into going to jail when she hit me. Come to find out she was on meth. But still, I've never heard of anybody who's on weed talk themselves into going to jail. But my point is this. I've never heard of negative things when it comes to weed. Okay, if you go back and you look at the early stories of people who moved to where weed is legal, and you watch the stories and you look how their lives have changed, how could you think negatively of something like that? You feel what I'm saying? People have had to literally like 180 their entire life at the drop of a dime because science medicine wasn't helping the ailment, the sickness, whatever. Science medicine wasn't helping, so people moved. They dropped everything they had and moved to the states that where it was legal. And then you hear their stories, and I mean, parents are talking about their kids who have epilepsy not having as many or zero in a day. How could you be mad at that? You're hearing about cancer patients not feeling like they're fixing to die. How can you be mad at that? Because it's a plant. It's a plant. This isn't science medicine. This isn't formulated in a lab somewhere. This is something that's from the earth. You feel what I'm saying? And I don't mean to sound like a hippie. I don't mean to sound like every fucking stoner movie show you've ever seen, but this is real life now, man. If we keep putting so much negativity on the shit that's actually improving the society, and we keep having shit go crazy like this, how much longer do you really think we have before some shit just truly pops out of fucking proportion? You know what I'm saying? Anybody who has ever been arrested for marijuana should have that record expunged. Alright? It should. Because I'm telling you right now, this right here is the last thing I'm going to say, because I've went on way longer than I intended to. This is the last thing I'm going to say. If you were to take away the charges for marijuana on people, if you could no longer pull someone over for weed, do you know what that time could be spent towards? That time could then be spent towards actually protecting us from the real problems. What real problems? Sex offenders, child molesters, rapists, all walking free because there's not enough fucking room in the prison system right now. You have convicted felons multiple times of sex offense, rape, child molestation, shit like that, who are walking free because there's no room in these prisons, because these prisons are overpopulated with drug dealers and drug users. If it was a non-violent offense, they don't need to go to jail. Simple as that. Because the moment you send that motherfucker to jail, now you have created a problem that you didn't want in the first place. What's the problem? That guy has a higher chance coming out and then going back in, but this time he'll be going back in as a violent offender. Chances are higher of that happening because he's been in that environment once. You see what I'm saying? If you want to arrest somebody for weed and give them a jail sentence, bitch, 2 days in holding. And that's extreme. You feel what I'm saying? Because non-violent offenders should never be housed with people who have killed people, who have done violent things to people. They should never be housed with those people. But they are, because there's not enough room in jail for the real criminals that are running the streets. If you made weed legal and you got rid of them people in them jail cells, guess how many beds and rooms have just become available? Yeah, do the math. Do the math. I guarantee you it'll scare the fuck out of you. It'll scare the fuck out of you. The fact that you got all these sex offenders walking around free. But your buddy up the street got caught with like an ounce of weed and he's got, 5 to 10. He got caught with an ounce of weed, got 5 to 10. What else did he get caught with? Just an ounce of weed. So he didn't fight you. He went calmly. He let you take the weed. He went nicely. There was no nothing. Why he got to do 5 to 10? Why don't he get a slap on the wrist or a fine? You got an ounce of weed, that should go for like $200 in the streets. Bitch, the fine is $200. Why in the fuck send him to jail? You know what I'm saying? That space that he's now got to eat up for 5 to 10 years is another bed gone that could be used for a sex offender or someone who is actually committing crimes. You dig what I'm saying? Like robbing people's houses and beating them up or something. I can't think of crimes off the top of my head. But you see what I'm saying? Get these people who are only in there for marijuana charges and small amounts of weed. Like seriously, if it's a pound, let that shit go. Let it go. You dig what I'm saying? I've seen cops celebrate so much bullshit when it comes to this weed. I'd be like, I wouldn't be celebrating that. If I was your captain, I'd be beating the fuck out of you in the photo. Like, this just is nothing. My point is this. Weed should be legal. If we fix the injustice behind everything that the weed has had happen to it, if we're able to do that, then the real problems can start to be solved. The real problems can actually start to be handled the right way. But it's not until that happens. It's not going to be until that happens. And that's a fucking shame. Because there's plenty of people out there right now walking around free who shouldn't be. It is what it is. And I'm not mentioning no names because I don't know any of these people. But they're out there. You feel what I'm saying? And it's all because they're overcrowded in prison because they have so many non-violent offenders who are users and or small amount dealers in these prison cells instead of these actual violent and sex offending criminals. To me, that's a problem. To me, that should never have happened. I don't know why it did. I don't know why it's socially acceptable right now. But I'm telling you, if you think of it like that and we act on it like that. If I'm a violent offender, if I'm a sex offender, I'm scared because you're getting rooms now. You're getting rooms. Oh shit, this is real thing. Like, what if they recall me to go back and I gotta go and do some time because there's room now? You dig what I'm saying? If I'm this person, I'm terrified because all these people are getting expunged records and they're getting back to being able to. And even though they did time, they don't have to bring up the time. They don't have to do any of that because job companies can't even test these people for weed. There's so much to go into play here because now these people can actually get a job. You know what I'm saying? So there's so much more positivity to come if this happens. And my point for making weed legal is because of all the positivity it brings. We are living in a society, especially with social media, that is so negative, so dark. And then look what everything has happened with weed. People getting real jobs who've been locked away, who otherwise when they got out on parole probably wouldn't have been able to get a job because they have parole and because this is on their record. You dig what I'm saying? So, oh, you expunged it. I don't have to do this. I don't have to explain this. I can go, bam, I got me a new job, bam, it's good. You dig what I'm saying? Taking away workforce abilities to test for marijuana, it's another positive thing because that is saying weed is not going to do anything stupidly crazy to somebody. It's a good thing. It's a positive thing. That's why I want this shit legal. You feel what I'm saying? There's too much positive in marijuana to keep it illegal. To keep it illegal is to put a war on the people because you went about the war on drugs the wrong way. I talked about that. You went on that the wrong way, and to continue having this be illegal is to continue having the war on people versus the product. Therefore, this law is discriminating. It is racist because you are going after the people. And the people who have this product are, like I said, the lower middle class and poverty. That is discrimination. You're allowing, because we don't have a certain dollar amount. You dig what I'm saying? I'm in the lower, if not poverty line. You dig what I'm saying? So that is discrimination. And it doesn't matter race when you talk about that part. Because I'm white and I'm broke than a bitch. And there's women who I work with that are broke than a bitch. So sex is out the window. So that's what I'm making a point. Make weed legal. Make it legal. Let all this positive shit happen. Change what we have right now for the better. You dig what I'm saying? For the better. Not only for the better for right now, but for the better down the road. Look at that. Look at how much good it did. People out here being able to live normal lives. People out here able to pay taxes again. People out here making money again. You dig what I'm saying? So much positive. Why is this illegal? It's obviously illegal because it's a negative effect and there's only negative shit happening because of it. Make it legal. Make it legal, I'm telling you. Make it legal. And I'm out this